Okay, Mr. Carlson, we can start right now.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just turn my video back on.
All right. Um, okay. Good morning, Mr. Carlson. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have this opportunity to talk with you. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you. My pleasure. I'm happy to talk with you.
I'm sorry to sir if my profile is dark like this.
That's okay.
I'm also sorry, sir, if some of my friends who joined the Zoom did not open their cameras.
Oh, that's fine too. Whatever works for you.
All right, sir. So, to begin, we start first question. Uh, could you could you tell us about your professional background and current role at the university at Buffalo Library, sir?
Sure. So I have been at the University at Buffalo for a little less than 2 years now, and I serve as the Associate University Librarian for Research Collections and Outreach. So essentially, that's one step below our library director, our vice provost for the libraries. Um, Before I came to Buffalo, I was at the University of Michigan. And when I was there, I oversaw their research data services as well as their institutional repository. So if people were producing data sets and they wanted to or needed to share them to make them more widely available, they could talk to us and we would help prepare those data sets for being shared with other folks. We would help organize those data, describe those data, and to deposit our that data in our institutional repository for research data. So we had two repositories at Michigan. We had a data repository, and we had what's called the institutional documents repository. So things that were more like papers or reports or other things that were meant to be read by human beings. Um, so I came to Buffalo again a little less than 2 years ago, and I have a much wider set of responsibilities here. So I oversee our library liaisons, so our folks who are connected to different departments around the university and dedicated to understanding their information needs and to finding ways to meet those needs through the services and support that we provide at the libraries. I oversee our user experience librarian, and I oversee our research data services, although we're still getting started with those. They're much less developed than they were when I was at Michigan. So that's a work in progress. And then I oversee we are undergoing a very large renovation in our main library, and I oversee our project manager for that renovation. So as a part of that renovation, we are going to completely redo our main library. We're going to really take the building down just to its core and then build it back up to be much more modern and appealing and really situated for how users use the library in the 21st century. And the project manager reports to me.
Great experience, sir. So you're at Buffalo less than 2 years.
Yes. So I joined in August 2023, and it's now the end of June. So roughly 2 months or so will be 2 years for me.
In advance, I apologize if my English is bad, sir.
Uh,
As-
it's much better. It's quite fine. It's not a problem.
so can you slow down your explanation, sir? Because I don't really
Sure.
understand.
Sure,
Okay.
that's not a problem. So really my background is in research data, so helping people who are generating data as a part of their research to think about what they might want to do with that data. And in the United States, there is a requirement now that you share research data if you receive funding, if you receive money from the government or from other granting agencies. And so I have helped people um, think about that requirement and how to meet that requirement, but also what they might want to do with their data or what benefit they might see with their research data from making it available to other people through a repository or other means.
All right, sir. So from your perspective, how has information management improved in academic libraries over the past decade?
Yeah, so I see a lot of evolution in academic libraries and in the work that we do. And I think working with research data, as I described, is one of those changes, right? So traditionally, we've worked with books, we've worked with journals, we've worked with materials that were physical in nature. And now we're doing a lot more work with digital materials. And that includes digitizing books and journals and other things that are in physical form, but it also includes working with materials that are generated digitally. And research data is, I think, a really good example of that. I think another shift of what we're doing is traditionally librarians have helped people who want to consume information, who are looking for information to use for their particular purpose. And what I see us doing now is not moving away from that. We're still helping people find, understand, and use information, but we're also helping people who are creating information like research data think about how others could find, understand, trust, and use that information. And that's been a lot of the work that I've been doing with research data, but also other materials within the library's institutional repositories.
Sir, as an librarian, you're happy with your job, right, sir?
Am I happy with what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yes, I really enjoy it. I mean, it is a challenge for sure. I don't have a background in a science discipline or in a medical discipline or an engineering discipline, but I work with a lot of researchers who are in those spaces. And what I find is I learn a lot from the work that they're doing, and they learn a lot from working with me because they are very focused on their subject. They are experts in their field and they have a real depth of knowledge. As a librarian, what I do is I have a real wide body of knowledge. I work with different people in different subjects, but I help them to think about what is it they're generating and what they could do to benefit from the information they're generating. So again, they may need to share their data because it's a requirement of the money that they're getting to fund their research, but they may also want to share their data because it enhances their professional reputation, right? So if somebody finds their data set and cites it, if they, really see value in that data set and they make use of it in their paper, they get credit for having put that data out into the world. So it's a different way of thinking about scholarship. It's a different way of thinking about how people connect with and make sense of information. And it's a different way of valuing different types of academic work and really having the role of a librarian and the application of library science, the things that we know how to do as a librarian, really, I think, add value to the overall academic world.
So have you heard that your experience and your perspective is good? So what are some of the key digital and transformation that UB Libraries has implemented in recent years, sir?
Yeah, I think there are a couple. before I got to Buffalo, so more than 2 years ago, we redid one of the Buffalo libraries to be more, I think, mindful and conscientious of digital transformational work. So that library is called the Silverman Library, and it used to be our science library. But what we did was to take out the science-based materials and to move them into our main library. And with the space that was freed up in Silverman, we put in things like um, digital studios. So students or researchers could record themselves and make videos of the work that they were doing. We also enable people to create podcasts or other audio recordings. So really, it's helping people to explore their scholarship and to grow what they're able to produce in different ways. And I think really recognizing the library not just as a place where you go to find materials, but you go as a place that can help you do your work or advance your scholarship in different ways. That's been a really important transformation for us. And having those digital tools and that equipment has really allowed us to play that role successfully. So I think that's a very important transformation for us in thinking about what we do as librarians and how we go about doing it. What are the resources that we provide?
Yeah, yeah, you're right, sir. So, how do you ensure the security and long-term preservation of digital materials in the library, sir?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I will say I don't think we do enough of this right now. I think we are still sort of thinking about, particularly the long-term preservation, about where we need to invest and what we need to build in order to ensure preservation of the digital materials that we have. So one of the other things that we're doing is building a digital collections platform. So we've had some digital collections in the past, and we are getting more and more of them. But the tools that we've had to manage them, the tools that we've had to present and to showcase them, the tools that we've had to preserve them haven't been very well developed. And so we are in the process now of building a new platform to better host the materials that we have, to better enable access and findability to materials that we have. And I think it will also help in terms of the security and the long-term preservation of the materials that we have as well. But I think that's an area that we really do need to pay more time and attention to, because it hasn't been on the forefront of the work that we've done in the past. So with our new platform, I think we'll be really looking at not just how do we make our materials available, but how do we ensure they're available over time?
You're right, sir. So, what challenges do you often face when adopting new technologies in library service?
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I think really we face challenges in how do we find the technologies that are out there that really connect with the needs that we have. And I think in looking at our different options, particularly with the adoption of a new digital collections platform, as I mentioned before, none of the platforms that are there exactly match what we want. And so, no matter what we choose, and we have chosen one, we need to do some work to get it into a shape, into a state where we can use it for the purposes that we want to use it for. So there's work in getting it ready and preparing it. But then also, to refer back to your previous question, there are challenges with, well, how do we manage these platforms over time? And how do we create structures, not just technical structures, but how do we determine our policies with regards to how these will be used and what kind of support we can provide? How do we ensure that we have the people with the skills that are needed to ensure that we can operate this service and maintain it over time, but not just maintain it, but also grow and develop it over time too, as we get a better sense as to how people are using our digital platform and our digital materials and how they want to use it but aren't able to for whatever reason right now. How do we keep growing and developing the platforms that we have and the services that we have to ensure that we're meeting people's needs? And all of that takes time, money, and resources, and those are not always in great supply. So figuring out how do we do as much as we can with what we're trying to accomplish, given our challenges in terms of having enough capacity or time or skills to do that work.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry if my question is double because I don't understand what I'm saying at all. At all. I just understand how, sir. So sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine.
So, sir, are there any partnership or collaboration between the libraries and other institutions to support digital access or inclusion, sir?
Um, so yes, we do have, I think, partnerships between the libraries and other parts of the university, and partnerships between other libraries than just at UB. So I'd say our partnerships with internally in the university at Buffalo, we have really good relationships with our information technology unit. So, for example, the University at Buffalo has a program where we distribute laptops to graduate students who need them. And that program is jointly run by IT and the library. So IT will work at figuring out which laptops to secure for this program and how to set them up. And then the libraries will be the agency that distributes the laptop and monitors the program. So there's that connection. Another connection is between the libraries and the Office of Research. So I've mentioned talking about research data and the libraries work to support researchers who need to share that data. A part of that reason, again, is because funding agencies require people to share their data if they receive money to do their research from that agency. And so while the library has expertise to help people think about how to organize, describe, and make their data accessible, we don't have the authority to say, yes, you have successfully completed this requirement to the funding agency. That is a requirement of the Office of Research, and they are the ones to make that determination. And so, what I'm working on now is building a partnership between the libraries and our Office of Research so that that process of ensuring compliance with funding agency requirements is successfully met. That they can sign off and say, yes, we feel that you have done this because you have done these kinds of things as measured or reviewed by the library. And so it's a way for us both to bring our different perspectives and expertise together to help the university satisfy these requirements and to grow our influence. So outside of the University at Buffalo, we have partnerships with other academic libraries. So for example, we are a part of the State University System of New York, or the SUNY, and we work collaboratively with other State University of New York institutions to look at things like how do we build our collections together? Are there particular journal titles or other resources that we want? and can we band together to buy them less expensively because we're coming together to purchase them as one library rather than multiple libraries. And we're also looking at building a institutional data repository for the entire State University of New York system rather than just Buffalo or one of the others, so that more schools can make use of the services that we provide for an institutional data repository.
Part of the topic, I want to ask you, at the Follow Library, students have um, study for 2 or 3 years, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand your question. Could you repeat it?
Uh, in Buffalo, in Buffalo University, in University in Buffalo,
Hmm.
students have 4 years study, sir, or 2 years.
Oh, okay. So are students at my university there for 2 years or 4 years? Is that the question that you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so we are a 4-year institution generally. So if you're coming to the University at Buffalo, it is a 4-year institution. We also offer what are called graduate programs. So you can get a master's degree for another 2 years after coming to college, or a PhD, which takes, 4 or 5 or more years after that.
Right, sir. So, in your opinion, what digital tools or systems are essential for modern library today, sir?
Yeah, so I don't know that there's any like one particular tool or one particular system. I think it depends upon what the library is trying to accomplish. So I would argue that institutional repositories are pretty important for most libraries these days. And these are systems that are designed to help people who are producing research or producing data or producing other items of scholarship or research to share more broadly um, than they could otherwise. And so, um, we collect things like um, early drafts of journal articles, and even though those journal articles will be published through a publisher of some kind, oftentimes access to those journal articles is just limited to people who subscribe to that journal. But if we have a copy in our institutional repository, we can make that available to anybody. And so it's a way to share more information from our university across the world to people who would otherwise not have that particular piece of information. And so again, I'm a little biased because this is my background, this is what I've done for a number of years, but I really think an institutional repository is essential infrastructure for libraries in this day and age.
All right, sir. Before we we end the Zoom, I wanna ask you, sir, have you have a question for me, sir?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear the question. Could you repeat that, please?
Uh, have you um do you have a question for me, sir? Before we end
Do I have
the
questions
Zoom?
for you? Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you're studying in your school, and what you hope to do once you complete school.
Oh, all right, sir. In University of North Sumatra, we learn just wait, sir. in uh in my university, in my I learned networking and cooperation systems, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Rima, can you help me?
Okay, sir. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Prima. I'm Cindy's classmate. We study library and information science in Universitas Sumatera Utara or North Sumatra University. It is located in Western Indonesia,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's we study library and information science. So this is actually one of our assignment to do like interview with librarian around the world, so we can ask about their system or their policy that they use in their university.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Uh,
thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Prima.
yes, sir. That's okay.
Any
Okay,
questions,
is
sir?
there anything else? Is there anything else that you would like to ask me?
For me, it's enough, sir. I think like everything that Cindy asked you is enough for me.
Okay.
Uh, and my Zoom is not pro, sir. So we have Prima terbatas apa terbatas?
We have limited time, so the Zoom is ending soon.
Oh, okay.
Cindy, do you have
Yeah,
anything to say?
limited.
Like, like, do you have like anything to say to Sir Jake?
And thank you so much, sir, for your time and your care about my project. Thank you so
I'm
much,
happy to
sir.
help. I hope your project hope your
So
project goes well.
I'm so sorry if this today not good and this morning
No,
not good. I'm
it's
sorry,
just
it's
fine.
my
I know
bad.
how Zoom can be challenging.
Sorry, sir.
Everything's fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You're a good
Okay.
people.
Yeah. Great. Take care. Have a good evening.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Okay.
you,
Thank you.
sir.
Bye-bye.
Ini kok terbatas, masa
Keren
terbatas aja nggak tahu
sekali.
terbatas yang limited. Bodohnya, bodohnya.
Terima
Eh,
kasih, Cipot.
makasih Prima sudah bantuin. Mati kali, mati kali. Makasih
Zikta
guys,
ya,
makasih semua.
halo. Dadah.
Bye-bye.
Semangat, Cipot. Kulit ya.